Hi, how is everybody? It's Tuesday, so it's a regular look at some of the classic board games I've got on my site, and obviously I add to these every week, and I'm always looking on various sites to try and pick up all these classic board games. And obviously some new ones come available as well. That a lot of the newer games are quite expensive, but obviously some of the newer games come out and you can pick them up at various auctions if you keep your eyes open. Anyway, this thing I tend to look at, this thing today, I'm going to look at an old classic Waddingtons game. Waddingtons were established 1922, I think, in Leeds, England. So a local company then. Obviously, they were very famous at that time for doing playing cards. So you still get Waddingtons playing cards now. Obviously, they started doing games. Some of the earliest games, I've got one upstairs from Waddingtons from the 50s. The game I'm going to look at today is from 1970. So it is a game I did play with my friends when I was a kid. And it doesn't sound exciting, but it's a good one of the first strategy games. There's a lot of these about now. A lot of companies are doing these sort of strategy sort of games where you have to build up a business and make money, etc. But obviously by moving freight around. Right, well, let me just tell you what this one is, and I'll just finish off about Waddingtons. I'm going to take a look at this today. Air charter. So basically in charge of making money as a businessman, flying cargo around an area of the world. An absorbing game of air cargo trading for 2 to 4 players, a short game for junior pilots, and a full game for experienced operators. Yeah, so you've got 2 games in one, and yeah, the short game is obviously there's a rule book that's quite a few pages, so it's not overly complicated. As long as an adult's having a quick look first of all to get any kids in it, and I would say kids from 8 upwards will probably be okay with it. As I said, Waddingtons were actually taken over in 1994. Like most things, the British company ends up in the hands of Hasbro. Then in 1994, obviously Waddingtons kept its name for certain things. An interesting thing about Waddingtons, it was in the actual war years, the Second World War years. The Ministry of Defence actually took Waddingtons over, not took them over, but actually got them to make special versions of Monopoly. Now, Monopoly was a Parker game in the US that was obviously sold under the Waddingtons banner in the UK, and they reciprocated by selling Cluedo over under the Parker name, which was a Waddingtons game originally. So obviously it became Clue over in America. Anyway, so during the war, the Second World War, Waddingtons were asked by the Ministry of Defence to make Monopoly games, which were given out as charity packages to prisoners of war abroad, and within these games were compasses and various things to help guys who wanted to escape from the prison camp. So this is a little bit of trivia I only found out. So that was really interesting. So obviously whether they caught on the Germans or the Japanese, whoever these things were distributed to the prison camps, I don't know. But obviously they actually put little things in the games that would help prisoners escape, and compasses and maps. There's even maps apparently in the packages as well. And I don't think by the Geneva Convention, apparently the foreign elements, the Japanese or the Germans, were allowed to, or Italians, whoever it was, who were holding the British prisoners, were allowed to check into these packages. So they actually managed to do that. But so as how successful, I don't know. I might have to read up on it again. Anyway, let me just get my ugly face out of it and just have a look at the board now for you, and I'll have a quick run through. Say, I'm not going to play the game. I'll just show you how it plays and see what you think. I mean, on Board Game Geek, which I use a lot, I think it averages a 5.9 out of 10 rating, which is it's not bad. I mean, nearly 6. I mean, a lot of games don't get that, and some people like it, some people don't. I mean, it's not overcomplicated. It's 2 to 4 players, so you got all your little planes. I mean, look at that yellow plane there. That little thing at the back will become apparent, obviously, in a bit. It's 2 to 4 players. I mean, you can actually get spares of planes and stuff. I mean, this thing's lost one wing, unfortunately, on here, but you can get spares on the internet, and Obviously, you could probably make it a 5 or 6 player game as well, so you get spare planes. And even if you didn't, you can find something like a drawing pin. What this is, if you see little pyramids, these are actually cargo. These little pyramid things fit on there. So if you're playing the game with, say, 5 players, get a drawing pin and stick it on the drawing pin or something like that. It'll do. So you can adapt it. If there's, say, when we have our game nights, there's more than 4 of us, unfortunately. So obviously, try and adapt it to 5 or 6. I think it can be very easily done. You have your bases. That's your yellow base there. Blues on the blue spot, Manila. Yellows on Palo Islands. This is all Southeast Asia. You got Kuala Lumpur and various places. Makassar is the green. The red up here is Derby, maybe part of New Zealand or Australia. That I'm not 100% sure. So you've got all your bases. The basic of the game, you give them money. You've all given. Someone has to play the bank. So as long as someone knows what they're doing there, and there's all different amounts of money. You're all given £2,260 to begin with. So that should be enough. But again, if you want to change the rules, give players more, perhaps give younger players more, then please do so. So you got different coloured cargoes. So you got blues and greens, purples, there's yellows, and these are all types of machinery. These a bit fiddly. If you've got big fingers like me, a bit fiddly there. But obviously, once you put them on the back of your plane, say you've got to take 2 elements. You're told to take 2 cargoes of machinery. Just fit on both. There you go. You got 2. They fit 2 on there. So obviously you can get up to 3 on. And then obviously you just play the game with that on the back, and that's the idea, is to get this cargo from you're told from what airport to which airport. So you might say, right, deliver 3 items of machinery to the different types of machinery from Malang, has to be flown to Tarakan, and obviously you get awarded money if you actually achieve that challenge of actually getting the cargo to it. The whites, they have white pyramids. These are actual foodstuffs as opposed to machinery, which are the coloured ones. So there's various things. When your main airports have these 5 of these white squares in each. There's plenty of these, and obviously you start off with 5 in each airport. These colours correspond to the colours of the airport. So the blues will go in the blue Kuala Lumpur there. Those will be in there. The game tells you what to do and where to put them, things like that. You've all got a fuel gauge, which is really good. And obviously, the more freight you're carrying, the more fuel you're going to use up. So you have to buy fuel before you fly. So I mean, I think it's 10. It's just 10 here. So let's say euros, dollars, pounds, doesn't matter what it is. But obviously, for every, I think you can get up to 15. So it could cost £150 dollar. Let's call it pound for the sake of it. £150 is the maximum you can pay. So you start off with 2,260. So you can get a few, but the problem with this, obviously, if you run out of fuel, depending on how many things. I mean, when you're flying somewhere to pick up the cargo, obviously you want to be as light as possible. So obviously you would probably think, oh, I'll just buy 10 for now, and then you can obviously refuel at the airport you land at, and obviously fuel up again. So all this is simple. If you've got no cargo on, then obviously you literally just fly in. You could start with 5, saying you're going from there to there, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you actually land on the air. So you could do it in one throw. So some people say you run out of fuel quite easy, so you have to keep quite a good look on that, especially younger players. But again, you don't crash as such. You just have to, if you run out of fuel halfway. So say you've only got 2 there, and you're circling this airport. These are circling the airport there. You have to follow the arrows round. So if you're there and you only get 2, but you need to get 1, 2. If someone's just landed on there, you can't go on it. So you'd have to know. So you can only go in the one direction though. So you can only go that way. You couldn't suddenly turn in midair. So you go 1, 2, and then if you run out of fuel, I've got nothing. Your next go, you still would throw the dice, but obviously you'd actually move in and try, and obviously you'd end up landing on the airport, but obviously it'd be a crash landing. It will cost you £500, I think, to if you do a crash landing. So if you run out of fuel, it's going to cost you money. So basically, look at your fuel gauge, keep it topped up. Obviously, you can only top up at the various airports, so you can't do it mid-air. These planes only fly one way, so you can't sort of like look at a longer run there. So if you go in there, you can have 2 planes on the same thing. You can fly over planes. So if you're there and you get a 4, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can fly over planes. That's no problem. But you can only ever have 2 on a spot. So if you end up once and you get a 3, 1, 2, 3, you can't. You'd have to sit there. So obviously but you still use 3 units of fuel. So even though you only move 2, you're still going to use 3. So 6, 5, 4, 3. So you go. And obviously, depending on where they move next time, you might be struggling again. The airports, you can only land, if you look at the airports, some have 2 runways. 2. Some only have 1. So depending on how you approach the airport, you can actually... So if you're, let's say, on this spot here, you're sitting there comfortably, and you throw a 3, 1, 2, 3, and you've landed on the airport. And obviously, once you land, you can actually move your plane into the hangar, ready to go again for the next time. Collect your money if you've got cargo for that airport. But if you're there and you get 4, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, you still land because it's 2. But the problem arises where you've only got 1 runway. So obviously, if you got 1, 2, 3, 4, you've overshot. So you've got to go 1, 2, 3, and work your way around the. So you have to circle till you line up perfectly on your count. So if you get a 1 the next throw, you can go 1 and you've landed. So that's a little intricacies of that. And you could be using you could be using fuel, so it could be a problem. So the old game, or the simple game, this is a simple game with the freight cars. What they do, they just tell you what to take. So they tell you what to pick up and where to take the freight. So this is where so two units of machinery from Talakan to Munkawari and collects 1,000 on delivery. So that's the whole game. So there's 2 or 3. It doesn't matter how many you're playing. There's 2 or 3 of you. What you do in the simple game, there's a simple game, a more advanced game. The freight cards are on the pile, and the simple game, you just each take a card and see what you do, and you play the game. And obviously, you put that next to your fuel gauge. That's me there. That's next to your fuel gauge there, and obviously that's your task to do, and you get paid or lose. Obviously, do it. And then obviously when you've done that, you go back and pick another freight card. So you all take turns. When it comes to the advanced game, you actually, say there was 3 of you, there's only the challenge, there would be 2 turned over in the advanced game. So you actually told what to do. And the first one to get to Kuala Lumpur or the first one to get to Malang gets the job. Now, obviously the third person's playing and they don't, obviously they're going to miss out. But obviously as soon as someone gets the job, that goes out. You don't play it again, just take it out and you turn another freight card up. So then obviously the third person's got something to aim for, so it's not as though they're going around and just waiting for other people. There's always jobs to do. Potluck as to how much those jobs are worth, obviously. And obviously for the advanced game again, which isn't that advanced. I mean, have a quick play of the other easy game without, where you actually pick these up. And there's only so many cards, so it's not going to last forever. But again, if you're finding it's too long, you can take a few cards out. And the advanced game, you get what's called an incident card. So if you throw a 1 or a 6, there could be something bad. So obviously a headwind. So before you pick this up, before you move your plane, headwind, it takes 2 extra fuel units to overcome it, showing your fuel gauge 2 extra units. So obviously you've got a little challenge, that just makes it a little bit worse. You do get tailwinds and various other things. So you've got engine trouble, so you can get engine trouble. So that's the incident card. They say that's for the advanced game, but I mean you can play either or, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, the winner basically is the person who plays all the cards. As you said, you can take some out if you think it's going to be too long. and the winner at the end of the day is the one with the most money. Now, while you're playing, you could end up with no money, obviously, but put a bit, at the end of the day, get a loan. I mean, adapt the rules to what you want to do. Get a little loan out, get a little bit extra. The rule sheet's quite simple. Doesn't take long to understand, and it's a great little game. Good challenge for younger players as well, and very simple. I mean, it is really simple game, and the fun, of course, obviously. There's little things, little bits where if you've got two planes circling, say that airport there, if you've got two planes circling, you can't land at that airport. So if you're approaching, you can't land there because there's already two planes circling the item. And as I say, you have to follow the arrows. You can't turn in midair. So if you're up over here and you want to go back to there, you literally have to go around and come back again. You can't turn in midair, which is obvious. But as I say, it got fair reviews on Board Game Geek. A lot of people liked it, and there's a lot of strategy games now that let's put this back up. There's a lot of strategy games now that are far more complicated. I mean, this is 1970, so it is quite simple. At the time, it probably was complicated, but you can see it's just a bit of fun. I think that's a great game to play with your kids as well, and it's something different. I mean, it's just something different to the norm. And as I said, you can progress from this to some of the newer modern strategy games as well. But this is great fun, and thanks to Waddingtons for giving us this in that. And I must admit, I did play this a few times with my friends, and we enjoyed it. I can't remember if I won or not. Who knows? But as I say, if 2,260 is not enough, play a game, and if it's not enough, get a loan. I mean, it's only a bit of fun. So, no one has to be out of the game because they've lost all the money and they can't fly. In real business, obviously, you're not going to fly your planes if you can't fuel up and you've got no money. But any games you can adapt and play your own rules, especially for younger players who say these fuel gauges might take a little bit of getting used to. And if you do run out of fuel, it's going to cost you £500, whatever happens. So you can soon whiz through that 2,260. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this little thing on Waddington's Air Charter game. Give us a thumbs up, push the bell notification, tell your friends if they like a bit of fun, try and entertain on these, get some more subscribers, that'd be great. You can follow me on Twitter at nostalgia_movie. On Facebook at Bernard Deneen with links to Movie Game Nostalgia. Movie Game Nostalgia is my website, so obviously there's all this game and many more on there. Obviously it's updated every day, new games coming in, new games going out, but then coming back in stock again. Rare DVDs and posters, obviously. So that's moviegamenostalgia.com, and obviously this YouTube channel. Give us a plug on there if you can with your friends, etc. Bernard Deneen YouTube, you find me on there. Tomorrow we'll be looking at there's three interesting movie releases tomorrow that I'm going to take a look at. There's an action thriller, a horror, and two horrors which are quite good and adulty, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. Thursday I'll be looking again at some posters and perhaps some old films you might have missed that are worth a watch. Obviously on Friday I think I'm doing my second movie quiz on Friday. Say Fridays are a free day where I do different bits and bobs, but this Friday I'll be doing another movie quiz. Quite a lot of feedback on the last one. Obviously a lot of people seem to enjoy that, but they find it quite hard. I'm involved in films all the time, so perhaps things to me aren't not as easy as I think, because as I said, I think with the quiz, I think there's 24 points up for grabs. If I'd been asked cold the questions I asked, I would have scored 15. But obviously, people said that, and what I've done this time is I've put 3 or 4 kids films in as well, because I know some kids tried the quiz with the parents, but obviously they didn't have a clue, because I tended to do a lot older films and things for older players, so I will include some kids things in this week's as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great, whatever you're doing today, have a great day. And Air Charter, keep your eye out for it. It is available, reasonably available on the internet, various sites. price wise, it can vary between £15 and £30 at the moment. So, but yeah, I can get some good fun out of that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you all soon.